What if survival was measured in footsteps? What if the only way to live was to keep moving forward? And what if stopping for even a second meant certain death? This is the chilling premise of The Long Walk, 2025 dystopian survival thriller directed by Francis Lawrence and adapted from Stephen King's haunting novel. Written under his pseudonym Richard Bachman, the film stunned audiences with its unflinching portrayal of endurance, violence, and human willpower. But beyond the shocking deaths and the relentless pace, the movie forces us to ask hard questions about society, entertainment, and the cost of obedience under a totalitarian regime today. We'll walk through The Long Walk scene by scene, peeling back not only the plot, but also the symbolism behind it. From the first death on the road to the explosive final moment, this is not just a dystopian story, it's a mirror reflecting the darkest possibilities of human nature. So lace up your shoes, settle in, and let's take our first step into The Long Walk. Asterisk, the movie opens with silence. There's no grand speech, no music, no build-up, just the sound of footsteps on asphalt and the murmurs of a restless crowd. This is America, but not the America we know. In this world, democracy is dead. Elections, freedoms, individuality, all replaced by the iron grip of a totalitarian government. And every year, to remind the people of their power, the regime hosts an event called The Long Walk. It's part entertainment, part punishment, and part ritual sacrifice. Thousands of boys volunteer. Only 50 are chosen. Why would anyone sign up for this? Two reasons: desperation and hope. The winner receives a grand prize, not only a vast sum of money, but also one wish. Anything he desires. Wealth, freedom, revenge, anything. But there's a catch. Only one boy can win. The other 49 die. The rules are painfully simple. Each boy must maintain a pace of at least 3 miles per hour. Fall below that speed and a soldier warns you. 3 warnings. And the next time you falter, you're shot. No mercy, no second chances. The walk doesn't stop. It continues until only one remains. This brutal simplicity is what makes the event so terrifying, so captivating for the regime's citizens, who line the streets to cheer and watch as boys collapse and die. It's bred in circuses. Roman gladiators reimagined for a modern dystopia, and the crowds love it. Our protagonist is Raymond Ray Garraty, played with heartbreaking subtlety by Cooper Hoffman. He's just 16 years old, yet already carrying the weight of rebellion on his shoulders as he arrives at the starting line. Ray meets his fellow competitors, boys with different backgrounds, personalities, and reasons for being here. Among them, Peter McVries, played by David Johnson, sharp-tongued and cynical, who quickly becomes Ray's closest companion. Billy Stebbins, quiet but insightful walker. Arthur Baker, kind and compassionate, a voice of reason among the chaos. Collie Parker, fiery and unpredictable, driven by rage. Gary Barkovich, manipulative and antagonistic, whose cruelty sets him apart. And Hank Olson, steady but doomed by his own breaking point. And above them all looms the Major, played with chilling authority by Mark Hamill, calm, commanding, and merciless. The Major embodies the faceless cruelty of the system. To him, the boys are not people. They are pawns in a spectacle. When the clock strikes 0, the Major gives the order. A gunshot echoes, and the walk begins. Asterisk, the early hours of the walk almost feel deceptively normal. The boys chatter nervously, make jokes, even try to ignore the looming reality. But the illusion doesn't last long. First casualty is Thomas Curley. A simple cramp, a Charlie horse in his leg, brings him down. He struggles, tries to catch up, but the warnings pile up. And then, the soldiers execute him in full view of the crowd. The walkers are shaken. The crowd, they cheer. And here, the film makes its first brutal point. Life and death are entertainment. For the audience, this is not tragedy, it's spectacle. As the day wears on, more boys fall. Some from exhaustion, some from fear, some from rash decisions. Each death is met with the same indifference from the soldiers, the same applause from the crowd. This is not just a competition. It's a system designed to dehumanize. Despite the death surrounding them, bonds begin to form. Ray and Peter become inseparable, sharing stories, fears, and hopes. Their friendship is the emotional backbone of the film. Ray confides in Peter, his true motivation for joining the walk. His father was executed by the regime for political opposition. Ray dreams of winning, not for wealth, not for glory, but to demand a soldier's rifle and kill the Major in revenge. Peter listens but tries to dissuade him. For Peter, survival is about endurance, not vengeance. But his own secret surfaces. When he reaches his limit, he plans to simply stop. Has no illusions about victory. His fight is not against the system, against his own despair. These quiet, intimate conversations contrast with the chaos of the walk. They remind us that behind every contestant is a real human being, with dreams, grief, and pain. As the days stretch on, fatigue takes hold. Hallucinations blur reality. Madness begins to seep in. Hank Olson, once steady, snaps. He attacks a soldier in desperation, only to be gunned down. His death is slow, warning to the others. Never resist. Never fight back. The group later learns Hank was married. The revelation crushes them. They vow that whoever wins should give part of the prize money to his widow. Desperate attempt to cling to morality. In a world designed to strip it away. Meanwhile, Gary Barkovich, a boy who once sneered at the suffering of others, unravels under guilt. Haunted by the death of a boy he provoked, he spirals into madness and eventually takes his own life. stabbing himself with a spoon. Each death is not just a loss of life. It's a psychological blow to the survivors. The walk is not only killing their bodies, it's dismantling their minds. The crowd grows larger with each town they pass. People wave flags, cheer, and laugh as if they are watching a parade instead of a massacre. This contrast is one of the film's most disturbing elements, the normalization of cruelty. Arthur Baker, once a voice of compassion, collapses from internal bleeding. Stebbins, sick and cynical, insists they should stop helping each other. Compassion only prolongs suffering, he argues. The walk is designed for death, not kindness. And yet, even in this hell, glimpses of humanity persist. When Ray sees his mother in the crowd, he nearly breaks, running toward her. The soldiers raise their rifles, but Peter saves him, dragging him back. This moment reminds us of what's at stake. These boys aren't nameless contestants. They're sons, brothers, friends, but the walk doesn't care. It devours them all the same, as the walk thins to its final competitors. Desperation takes center stage. Callie Parker, furious and broken, manages to steal a guard's rifle. For a moment, it feels like rebellion is possible, but it ends just as quickly. Callie kills a soldier, then turns the gun on himself. His death is both a protest and a surrender, a final refusal to give the regime satisfaction. Stebbins, gravely ill, reveals his own secret. He is the illegitimate son of the major. His entire motivation for joining the walk was to force his father to acknowledge him, but his sickness robs him of that chance. With quiet dignity, he thanks Ray and Peter for walking beside him, and allows himself to die, now only to remain. Ray Garraty and Peter McVries. Their bond, forged in blood and pain, is tested in the cruelest way possible. Only one of them can live. As they enter the final town, the crowd swells to thousands, desperate to see the climax. The major watches with satisfaction. Peter, weary beyond endurance, sits down. He's ready to die. But Ray, refusing to let go, lifts him up, encouraging him to keep walking. And in that act of kindness, Ray makes his fatal mistake. Slows. He stops. The major gives the order. Gunshots echo, and Ray falls. The crowd erupts in applause. The walk has its winner. Peter, the reluctant survivor, stands alone. The major approaches, expecting the usual acceptance of victory, but Peter remembers Ray's dream. When asked for his wish, he demands a rifle. Crowd gasps. The soldiers hesitate. The major, bound by his own rules, hands it over. Peter raises the rifle, aims at the man who embodied the regime's cruelty, and pulls the trigger. The major falls. The crowd is stunned into silence. And Peter, without a word, resumes walking, not toward glory, not toward freedom, just forward, because that's all there is left to do. At its core, the long walk is not about winning. It's about the cost of survival in a world that commodifies suffering. Walk is a metaphor for life under authoritarianism, relentless, unforgiving, and meaningless. The boys walk not because they want to, but because they must. Stopping means death. Resisting means death. In the crowd, they represent us, the audience. People who consume suffering as entertainment, cheer at others' pain as long as it's framed as a spectacle. The friendships, the betrayals, the breakdowns, they're not just plot points. They're reminders of the fragile humanity that exists even in the darkest circumstances. Ray's sacrifice, Peter's final act of rebellion show that even in a rigged system, defiance is possible. But it comes at the ultimate cost. Long Walk is not an easy movie to watch. It's not designed to be fun or exciting or triumphant. It's designed to unsettle, to disturb, to make us question the world we live in, because while this is fiction, themes are all too real. Authoritarianism, violence, entertainment, the dehumanization of the vulnerable. These are not distant nightmares. They are reflections of our own history and our own tendencies. In the end, The Long Walk is a story about endurance, about how long we can keep moving forward when the world demands our suffering, and about what it means to choose kindness, even when kindness costs everything. And perhaps that's the true horror, not that the walk is possible, that if it were real, we might very well line the streets and cheer.
If you like this video, leave a comment below and don't forget to subscribe. See you on my next video. Thank you.